So we'll do this. We'll do. What's up, guys? It's Gehlert. I am a guitarist and producer in Nashville, Tennessee, and a lot of the work I do is layering up and arranging guitars for different clients of all sorts, whether I'm producing or just being hired to play guitar on it. Usually there's 5 to 10 guitars on the tracks that I produce. Not all happening at once and not all doing the same thing. It sounds like a lot until you kind of break down the arrangement behind it. All arrangement is efficient use of filling space. And that can mean rhythmically, on the frequency spectrum, and obviously tone-wise, but for the sake of our example today, I've only used one guitar tone with a couple little added effects here and there. But my thought process from beginning is, what is the chord progression? How do I accentuate what's already there? And how do I push the track forward? Is usually those three are the golden rules, and then everything else is how do I fill in space? What's missing is really the fourth one. And that can be a wide open question. So what we took one of Taylor's drum tracks that he had posted recently, just so I wasn't working on a completely blank canvas. And first things first, we just made up a chord progression. So the chord progression I took was, if I remember correctly, B minor 7 to a D major 7 to a C major 7 to a G major 7. Simple enough and easy enough to get around. The first thing I always like to do, and I find like this is a signature on a lot of the tracks that I produce, or at least one of the layers that I send out, is I want some percussive stuff going on. So the first layer that I threw down after laying down the chords was pretty funky syncopated part that I harmonized. And that's to emulate a percussion or a horn section. Is 2 layers following the triads, right? My big chords are 7 chords, but if I'm going to add 10 guitar layers, I need to leave so much space. So I just harmonized 2 single note patterns that will outline the chords and kind of give you a little bit of momentum going forward. Keep it the same. You don't need to make an 8-bar melody from this pattern. It's just a and then you harmonize it to give context of the chords and outline the chords. Each layer in isolation should be enough that if you sent somebody 10 tracks, they'll use one and it'll make the song. So those were your short syncopated stops. Now we want a longer thing. Maybe we need just something higher up. We've got low chords, we've got a middle range kind of syncopated part. So we took some triads. I added some delay and some reverb and just outlined the triads. At one point only hitting 2 notes, so it's 3 triads and a dyad when you hit the G. Very voice-led, moving up so that there's always some sort of direction. It's not just finding what works, it's finding something pleasing to play as well, so that it kind of tickles like ear candy. So, syncopated stabs, block chords, high up chords to get out of the way of both of the things we already laid down. Now it's time to add some longer stuff. So I believe next I added 2 melodies. One that was a tremolo picked melody to just kind of give it a sense of etherealness without relying too much on all these pedals. I did have a delay pedal on, so it doesn't need to be perfect 64th notes. We just want something that feels like fluttering into the ears to go along with Taylor's crazy hi-hat stuff. I'm sorry, the sly hat stuff. to kind of accompany it and feel like it is giving the rest of everything context, glue that sticks it together. And so I kept it on one string and moved it around to just kind of give something else going on. Some of this stuff is more of a feeling than it is direct arrangement. I was like, this needs a flutter part. That was what was missing. After that, it was time for a longer melody. We have some short stuff, we have some fluttery stuff, we have some high up stuff. So I came up with a mid-range melody to go over the whole thing. Mostly because there's no vocals or anything else going on, so there's room to. So might as well have something that is ear catchy enough. Once we got there, we needed some low end. We didn't have any low end other than the block chords. So I just doubled that melody down an octave. And now you have something that's soaring across the whole track for your ear to latch onto. If, let's say that Taylor was singing, or if we had a vocalist in the track, I might do a simpler melody to either accompany or counter melody the actual vocal melody that's going on, or, you know, a sax melody, whatever it is. Something that gives context to the melody that is already there, so that you can give it support in the best of its ability. Cool. The last thing I did, it felt like something was still missing as far as a bit of a rhythmic element. So I came up with these clusters that worked over the two sets of chords. Luckily it worked in a well so where I could kind of and drive it forward again. I wanted to keep this melody simpler because we already have a fluttering tremolo picked thing, a stacked syncopated thing, and a melody. So this needed to be very straight and on the beat because we have a lot of stuff going off of the beat. So I wanted this to very much just hit. Very simple, a little syncopated, but not distracting. So melodies, stabs, swells, block chords, clusters, and a tremolo pick that I really just did that for fun, if we're being honest. All coming together, but staying out of each other's way. It's about keeping track of where you've come from so you can provide context to where you're going, and supporting the song in a way that's pleasing to the ear, fun to play, but also serves the song.